Yes, Mr. Boyo, just before we leave you, I'm sure you want to go to Odilim. We have heard stories, we have read about them in the papers, how people come out and confess that they went to some rally and they were given some amounts of money, sometimes even in dollars. I mean, that means that these people have more money to spend. Doesn't that have any impact at all on the economy? If, for instance, 50,000 people attend a rally and each of them got $300, you know?
Well, it has what you call a temporary interest, just like you have a fly market, you know, a flea market, they call it, you know. It's there 1 minute and, you know. So in other words, they'll be happy spending the 2,000 or 3,000 for one day, but after that, it's back to the grinding mill. I mean, you know, there's no two ways about it. So those who take, excuse me, who take 1,000, 2,000, or 5,000, as the case may be, it's a clear indication of their level of poverty, because if you truly have a job to go to in the morning and resume and close at 5 or 6 p.m., and you get a reasonable salary, I don't know what is reasonable these days, because the majority of people earn, what is it, 18,000 naira minimum wage, which used to be equivalent to about $160, $70 some 4 years back. Today, it's worth what? Less than $100. In other words, what has happened is that these people would trade downwards. The people who could eat sardine before would now eat shawara, that kind of thing. That's like you're saying, you're admitting you are becoming poorer. That's why inflation is a terrible disease. It destroys everything if you're not careful. And unfortunately, even the media celebrates an inflation rate of 8%, you know, whereas best practice anywhere should be about 1% or 2% maximum, but we celebrate 8%. What that means is that you accept that every 5 years or thereabouts, if your income does not change, as Alero indicated earlier on, you would be losing 40% or 45% thereabouts of your purchasing power. That means, sensibly, you cannot buy those things you used to buy before. You have to keep buying less. That is how people become poorer. Inflation is a major driver of poverty.
We're still hoping to get signals from our studios in Abuja so that we can bring it Odilim Enwegbara. But while we're waiting for that, when we hear of, besides hearing of people collecting, besides hearing of people getting 2,000, 3,000, the issues of, or the political parties talking about the monies they raise for campaigns. For instance, the PDP is said to have raised about 21 billion naira for the general elections, while the APC is believed to have raised about 50 billion naira for the elections. Those, when you hear those high sounding amounts,
mind-boggling figures,
doesn't that affect what goes on in the economy? How does that affect it?
Well, they're not mind-boggling figures when you consider the amount of money we're talking about in this country. They are peanuts, really. But the truth, of
that's
course,
because you're an economist, Mr. Boyo.
Not really, not
50
really.
billion
Yeah.
is unimaginable to some people.
Well, it's unimaginable to some people, but when you're talking of, for example, making available opportunities for the banks to earn 600 billion naira not 50 billion this time, 600 billion naira for doing nothing. You will understand that 50 billion spent at least so that some people could feed is not such a bad idea, because there's a contraption that allows the banks to make 600 billion naira free money every year.
Okay, Mr. Boyo, we'll come back to you. Let's get to Abuja, where Odilim is standing by. Odilim Enwegbara, thank you for joining us. We're looking at the economy and the 2015 elections. We've talked about the fact that the political parties appear to be spending so much money. Some of them they raised, as they say, from amongst Nigerians. And Mr. Boyo has talked about the fact that there are contractions that allow the banks to earn 600 billion is it monthly? Annually. Now, weigh all of this, and we're looking at how is this election affecting the Nigerian economy?
Yeah, I think to some extent I agreed with him. If you know, democracy is very expensive, and if it is expensive, So it should be like that. Unless we want to go back to automatic, where a comes up and takes over the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, then the processes of electing people must cost money. And things must be done properly, in the sense that people are complaining that foreign investors and even domestic investors are all standing still or just standing or sitting by the fence. I agree, but even in the United States, as modern and as advanced it is, from July to November 4th, when election is conducted, almost everything is shut down. Because if you get it right within the 4 months, then the next 4 years, the economy will grow. So my sense in all this is that I agree with him the issue of excessive money being made by the banks. But that has to do with our monetary policy. And a lot of money in circulation, which I call idle money, because of economic financialization. Because if you have a product that is very expensive and it is out of the people, those people will not purchase the goods. So the interest rate in this country is excessively high. Inflation he is saying about, for me, I would prefer higher inflation to lower interest rate. Because if you have low interest rate, low inflation, it means that you excessively valuing your money, especially if you are an importing nation. It means you subsidize import. So my concern here is that let's be appreciative of what we are going through. We must get things right. And because we must get things right, we don't need to be in a hurry. Those foreign investors who have gone, they will come back because Nigeria remains the 4th best place to invest with one of the highest returns on investment. So I don't agree that because we shifted we postponed 6 weeks, which is 1.5 months, that the economy will crumble. And it is better we postpone it, as I've always said, so that we get things right, than not to postpone it, and after which many people will go to court and stop the pronouncement of the outcome of the election. So I will tell that at the end of the day, let's get things right. Let's stop blaming. Let's fix Nigeria by making sure we vote the right person. And let's agree that this government has done extensively well. The privatization of the power sector. Agree with me that if we have not privatized power sector, yes, the result has not shown immediately because it takes time for the private owners to reinvest and to build the infrastructure. But remember when NEPA was in the hands of government, people will supply a particular type of equipment, and midnight they go and remove it. But now, because it's in a private hand, the private owner will protect his investment. And it is up to him to protect his investment. Now, you could say, yeah, the power generation remains about 4,500. But with the private owners now, you will see that within 2 or 3 years, it will quadruple. The problem we have, I could say, is we must diversify our source of electricity. Because using gas alone, when it is vandalized, when saboteurs cut the pipelines supplying gas to the power plants, then it shuts down the power plant. But I think that this government, if it returns to power, it will diversify the power sector by participating alongside the private sector in such areas the private sectors cannot have the money to invest in, areas like nuclear power generation. So, and I think that we have to be very calm and I agree that the problems of Nigeria must be fixed.